Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Today, what I wanted to talk about was, is about my issues as far as infidelity, and also maybe to help some of you guys to kind of figure things out and keep yourself from being put into positions that I've put other people in, other positions I put other men into. Well, they put themselves in it, but I took advantage of the situations. So I've told you guys before that my marriage right now, this is the only relationship I've ever been in that, well, this is the second one that I've never had issues with as far as infidelity, cheating, and all that. Uh, I've been with my wife since 2000, end of 2018, and so it's been a few years now. The other relationship that I didn't have that issue in was with my son's mother. But again, I wasn't with her that long to be doing that kind of stuff. Other than that, every other relationship, I was always out messing around. I would always keep, a certain amount of women around, um, just in case anything happened with my relationship. I'd have some place to go, or I'd have somebody I could depend on for the time being. But what I started to realize later on was messing around with women that didn't have that were single or just had a boyfriend that they didn't live with. Behave, behave. Um, Caused me more issue because they would always want something from you. Even if they knew that I was in a relationship, they would try to mess things up to get me out of the relationship, to get into a relationship with them. So I started to smarten up about it, and I started to, and this is during the time, when there's the internet. This is not before the internet. This is during, MySpace and Facebook, when MySpace first started, and then, the Facebook. I started to look for women that were married. And I just started to I just watched, I add them on Facebook or MySpace, whatever, and I would just sit there and watch their posts. All I had to do was watch their posts, and you could kind of tell. I could kind of tell what kind of relationship they were in. If the relationship was great, or it was just like mediocre. There wasn't really much going on there. You could tell. If a woman was constantly posting pictures of her and her husband, they're out doing stuff. So I knew that they were spending a lot of time together. That they were going on a vacation together. They would go out to dinner together. They would go to amusement parks together, take their kids to Disneyland. I mean, constantly every weekend there's something going on with them. They're with their family and all that. See, I wouldn't look for them because they were in a good relationship. They were constantly with their significant other and their kids doing things. So that I would look for the ones that weren't constantly posting pictures of the husband, or if they did post pictures, a lot of the times the husband wouldn't be in the pictures. It was her and the kids. Or she would say something on Facebook or MySpace like, "Oh, wish my husband could be here with us, but he's always working too much, he works too much, and blah blah blah." So now I would focus on those ones, or I would focus on the ones that I knew they were married, but they wouldn't post too many pictures at all of their husbands. I'd focus more on them, and I would start to befriend them little by little, like just like a picture here and there. I was never the kind of guy that you see right now. Like you look on these pictures of these girls and they throw all this drag out there and shit, thinking that that's going to work. I never did that. I would just take my time little by little, pick at them little by little because I had nothing but time to do it. I could have like 10, 11 women that I'm watching. And Little by little, I'm just picking at each one of them. If you got 10 of them, one of them eventually is gonna bite. You know, even if she's married. And the problem is because the relationship is not what it was when they first got married or when they first got into the relationship. You see, when you get into a relationship with somebody, you're constantly doing things with them. You constantly want to be around them. You constantly want to show them off to people. You're constantly holding their hand when you guys go places and stuff like that. You keep them close to you. But as time goes by, little by little, and it's most of the time it's men that will stop doing those kind of things. It starts to die out. You start to get used to that person. You don't hold their hand no more. It's just everything's changing. You don't spend as much time with them anymore. You go back to spending a lot of time with your friends. Because when you first get into that relationship, you don't hang around with your friends as much. Or if you do, you got your girl with you, and you guys go out and do things together, and your friends with your friends. But then you start to break away from all that. You get used to that person, and so there's other guys too that constantly want more, more, more as far as work goes. I understand that as a man, you want to work, you want to buy nice shit, you want to have a nice car, you want to maybe have a boat, maybe some jet skis, a motorcycle, whatever. You want to buy your wife nice stuff, you want to have nice stuff, but at what cost? You see, because you're going to work, 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 work to get all these things, and in the end, your relationship falls apart because you forgot about the relationship part. You're more focused on the material shit. You have to find a fucking balance between that, and that was a lot. That was like I was seeing some woman that was married. I just say she lives in Orange County. She was a lot older than me. I was in my late 20s. She was, I would say, in her early 40s. She had a good life. She had a really good life. She was a stay-at-home wife. She had two sons. One was in high school, he played football. The other one was in junior high school, about to go to high school. The husband had his own business. He had probably like 10 workers. He painted commercial buildings. And but he was constantly at work. Everything was work, work, work. And so she became lonely. Whenever she did things, it was like I said, I watched it. She was doing things with her sons, but he was never in the pictures. I always complaining about he's never around. So then I started to pick at her little by little. And finally, one day I got her to fucking meet me. One day I got her to meet me, and that was it. That was that. I was seeing her for probably about maybe a year. Once every other week, once every 3 weeks, whatever it was. I was in a relationship. I was living with my kid's mother at the time. I would just tell my kid's mom that I was going to work like a normal day, but at work I would ask for a day off, a paid day off, because I knew she would notice on my check if my check was short that I missed a day. So I would ask for a paid day off, one of my paid days off, and she never kept track of my days off, my sick days and all that shit. You know what I mean? So I would just get a paid day off, and all I would do is, she was, I don't know if she was working. I think she was working at the time. I would in the morning time just take an extra pair of boxers, and I take off my work clothes. I have an extra pair of boxers stuffed in my pants, and I go meet this girl at a motel that she paid for. Well, actually, her husband paid for because she didn't have a job, and I stayed there with her the whole day. And then I used to be home from work about 5:30, 6 o'clock. I would leave there probably like 3:30. Take the long way. I would go out to Orange County from in the Empire. Take the long way home. Maybe stop by a friend's house or some shit real quick. But I would shower and everything and change my boxers, and then I'd leave my boxers in my car until I got home. Make sure she wasn't there. Then I'd take my clothes, whatever I took with me, my boxers or whatever, and then I throw them in the dirty hamper. Um, if not, I would wait until she got in the shower. And once she got in the shower, run to my car real quick, grab my boxers, go throw them in the dirty hamper. I was just always trying to be ahead of the game, you know. But I was seeing her for like a good fucking year, and she was kicking in. She was buying me stuff. The thing was, her husband had a really good job. She would, after a while, she started telling me more and more what was going on, and that's all it was. That he was never around. He was working like 6, 7 days a week, and I understood. They had a home. They lived in Orange County. They lived right by Disneyland, so it was expensive where they lived at. They lived like a couple blocks from Disneyland. Um, so yeah, he had to pay for she didn't work. He had to pay for the home, her car, his car. He had to pay for everything. So yeah, he had to work. But like I said, at what expense? He never spent time with his wife no more. Never spent time with his kids no more. He kind of pushed them to the side, and work came first. And then after work, she would say that, oh, then after work, sometimes he don't come home for dinner. He's out out having a couple of beers with the guys from work. So he started to neglect his family. And then when he neglects his family, you got a motherfucker like me that can just come step right in and see. She don't need nothing from me. She doesn't need the financial part. She don't need somebody to sleep with at night in her bed. She don't need nobody to go to Disney with her kids. She can do that with her kids. She just needs somebody to spend time with her, to talk to her, to be what he once was before he let the work uh, take over. So that's all I was. And so I think she was the first one that I started to do that with. I seen how it was working. Like, I don't have to give her nothing. I don't have to give her no money. She don't have to know where I live. She don't have to know where I work. She doesn't have to know nothing about me. She just knows that I show up when she needs me to show up. Made it so much easier for me because it kept me from worrying about these single girls that I was dealing with trying to fuck up my relationship. Because I used to tell girls when they knew that I was in a relationship. I didn't lie to them. I would tell them like, hey, I got a woman. I got kids. I love my woman. I love my kids. I'm just hanging out with you. So don't expect me to leave her, because I would never leave her and my kids for you. That's not going to happen. We can hang out and do our thing, but don't ever expect me to leave my woman and my kids for you. It's not going to happen. So just keep that shit in mind. And at first it would always be like, yeah, no problem. I don't care. I just want you to hang out with me sometimes. I don't need you around. I don't want a man and blah, blah, blah. A couple months down the road, they start pulling that shit like, oh, why don't we get together? You're not happy with her. Obviously, you're not happy with her because you're over here seeing me and blah, blah, blah. And nope, it's not going to happen. I already told you no. And then I would get rid of her right away. When they started doing this shit, I would get rid of them right away. Like, I can't, because you already started. So you're done. I'm done with you. And that was it. I'd have to change my phone number. I'd have to make an excuse to my kid's mom why I changed my phone number. But I would change my phone number. And so I would have to, but I have to get rid of them. But with that, when I started seeing the married chick, and she didn't need nothing else from me, she wasn't going to leave her relationship. She had a good thing going. She had told me at one time that there was a safe in the house, and it almost came to the point where I was going to go into the house and take money out of the safe, because she told me there was a safe in the house in their room, and that there was always at least $20,000 in cash in there, and there was guns in there. And she was going to let me go in there and get it. She was going to let me go in there and rob the house and get it while he was at work. But it never happened. But I was getting stuff from her. I think the most I got from her was like $5,000. Expensive watch. She bought me I think it was, at the time, it was like a PlayStation 2. Maybe it was a PlayStation 2. She bought me one of those. I used to have my ears pierced. I used to have the hoops in my ears, the big hoops in my ears, but I wanted to put diamond studs in there. And she bought me some expensive diamond studded earrings with platinum posts. And I remember she gave them to me. Well, no, she would send stuff to my work. She would order things online and have it sent to my work. And she ordered these diamond earrings. And I remember they had a sign for them. They came. Somebody at my work had a sign for them. They used to tell me like, "Why the hell do you get packages here at work?" So I just like people knew what I was doing. It's just some people in the office knew what I was doing. It's like, hey, just don't worry, we just get my shit, sign my shit when it comes in here. So they would sign for shit. And one time they signed for a package. It was the diamond earrings. I think they were half carat diamond earrings. And I took them home and I hid them in the coat pocket in my closet a coat that I never wore. I hid them in the pocket in there. And 'cause I was trying to figure out how I'm going to explain to her, my woman at the time, where I got these half carat diamond earrings. And so I hid them. And I think it was like a week or two later, I even realized that it was fucking Valentine's Day. And I didn't buy my kid's mom nothing. So I was like, shit. And I was kind of broke at the time. I didn't have the money to go out and buy nothing. So what I did is I took them fucking diamond earrings and I gave them to her. And she was like, where the hell did you get the money to buy these? I just told her I had been saving up money for a long time to get them for her. I think she still has them fucking things to this day. She knows though. I eventually told her when me and her split up, like, years later, I told her, yeah, those things weren't even for you. Those were mine. But I gave them to you because I fucked up and forgot it was Valentine's Day. But yeah, I started to notice that, okay, if I didn't have to do much for them. They already had what they needed at home. They had their homes, they had their cars, they had their money. Some of them had jobs, some of them didn't. So I started to focus on that more and started dealing with those women. And like I said, I would constantly watch them. I would constantly watch women on the internet, people that were on my post. And I could see, like, okay, she's having problems with her relationship. Or I would see the ones that would go back and forth with their relationship with their husband and shit. Say, oh, they have a fucked up relationship, so I can get her. You know what I mean? I can get her. She's easy to get. But I was mainly focused more on the ones that were actual in marriages because they didn't require nothing from me but to come see them sometimes. And so even now, like, I don't do that shit no more. You know what I mean? I'm focused on my life, my wife, my home. I'm almost 50 years old now. I ain't got time to be doing all that running around bullshit. But it's fun to sit there and watch the shit now. I can see what's going on, like, from a mile away. I watch these Instagram posts and shit, and I see it. I see what's going on, and even with some people that could be close friends or, people like acquaintances, especially with the fucking acquaintances. I can see there's a few acquaintances of mine that, we're not close friends in this shit, but I guess I watch their shit and I watch their wives and I'm like, damn, you don't see what the fuck is going on. You don't see that your wife is out there hunting for somebody else, that she's done with your shit. You know what I mean? She's hunting for somebody else. You know what I mean? You could easily see it. But I mean, I'm not looking for them. You know what I mean? So I don't say nothing. You know what I mean? And I don't want to get involved in that shit. You know. Um, but it's just so easy for me to see what goes on because I was the one doing it. And it's like if I wanted to do it, I can have way more than I had back then. Now, even back a few years back before I was with my wife, uh, there was dudes that I knew that their women was throwing out the action. I just stayed the fuck away from them. You know what I mean? Like I said, I stopped doing this shit a long time ago. You know what I mean? But I stayed the fuck away from them. Like I didn't want to be nowhere near their girls and shit like that because some of them they were throwing the action out there. Like you could get to them, like they were letting it be known. I never went and would tell the dudes like, hey man, better talk to your fucking woman, because I don't want to get involved in that shit, because what if he doesn't believe it? What if he believes his woman? Like, he's a fucking liar. He's trying to get at me. Like, nah, man, I'm not trying to get at your fucking woman. Your woman's a liar. I don't want to get involved in that he says, she says it. So I would even stay the fuck away from it. I don't want to be nowhere near you. You know what I mean? Because I already know what you're gonna do. You know what I mean? So, I would stay away from those guys' wives, or if we were all together hanging out somewhere, I wouldn't like hug them or none of that shit like that. I didn't want nothing to do with that because I knew what they were doing. Some of them are still with them. Some of them are still with them. Um, but like I said, it doesn't even have to be people that I know of though. It's just strangers. You know what I mean? Um, Everything has to be like they say. If you don't post it, it didn't happen. So people are constantly posting all their shit, every single thing that they're doing, and you can sit there and watch it. There's even times where me and my wife are like, "Damn, I didn't know that chick had a fucking husband." All of a sudden, she's posting pictures of her husband. Before it was like a picture there. Then all of a sudden, every week, all these pictures, like, fuck, I didn't know she had a husband. I thought they might have been separated or some shit. All of a sudden, she's posting a bunch of pictures of her husband and shit. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay. Like I see it, and so it's just like, but there's always a reason for it. You know, Somewhere along the line, their communication, their relationship, there's a breakdown in there. And a lot of the time, like I said, a lot of the time it has to do with the men and work because you want more and more and more. You know what I mean? And I understand that wanting more and wanting the really good life and all that. But like I said, at what cost? You spend more time at work and you neglect your wife and your kids, or even just neglecting your wife, uh, you're gonna fucking lose. You're gonna lose. There's women only gonna deal with that shit for so long. Men too. Same thing with men. A man's only gonna deal with that shit for so long. I mean, I don't know too many fucking women though that work like men. You know what I mean? Most women are doing like a 9 to 5, and they got the weekends off. You know what I mean? What women do you know is working 6, 7 days a week? You know what I mean? I do not know one. I do not know one woman that works like a man works. You know what I mean? So I don't give a fuck if she's a business owner. I don't know not woman that wants to work like a man works. You know what I mean? So it's usually the man that is putting all his effort into working and providing for his family as much as he possibly can. And again, it's always more and more. You get one thing, you want something different. I know there's guys out there. I know guys that are like that. They'll go out and one guy will go out and buy a fucking new Harley, and this fucking guy wants one now because he got one, so he wants to go buy one. I know guys that do that shit with boats. They buy these big ass fucking boats, and this fucking guy over here now he wants a big boat because he has the boat. You know what I mean? So he's gonna go out there and work hard, work 7 days a week, all the fucking overtime he can get, so he can buy himself a fucking boat. But at what cost? You're gonna enjoy the shit for a little while, but you get used to that money. That's another thing that happens. Is I know a lot of guys that working in the union, we make a lot of money, and when I was at Stater Brothers, them guys were over there making a killing, and when the overtime was just constant fucking overtime, they're doing 70 hours or whatever, they're just doing a shitload of hours. Then all of a sudden, something happens and everything goes, the overtime drops, and everybody's back to 40-hour weeks. These guys are fucking complaining. They're complaining like, fuck, man, like I'm not making enough money. Yeah, you got used to making all that money. And when you ain't got it no more, now you're complaining. You were okay when you were doing it before you were doing all the overtime, but you just got so used to all that shit. And so that's what happens. You want more and more and more and more. And then that's all you focus on is getting more and more. You forget about your home. So Me, as of right now, I'm on the, I'm on my disability, so I'm home all the time. I spend all my time with my wife when she's here, when she's not at work. My wife works at 9 to 5. She was off on weekends, so the weekends were together. But even when I was working full time, I was doing all I could not to be at work so much, because you know what? As long as my bills are paid, there's food on the table, we have money to do things. We had money to do things. And I was working 45 hours maybe a week. If I did 50, that was rare for me to do 50 hours a week. I didn't want to be at work all the time. I did not want to be at work all the time. Fuck that. I'm going to spend my life at work. So I'd rather spend time with my wife and be home with my wife and doing things with my wife. So it wasn't like we were broke. She had her job, I had my job. I didn't need to be at work 70 hours a week. I don't need to break my back like that. I'd rather spend my time with my wife and go do things, and we had enough money where I was able to spend sometimes, fuck man, almost every fucking weekend we were spending like $500-$600 just hanging out, going to nice dinners and drinking, hanging out at fucking bars, breweries. Sometimes I pay for when my friends would go. I pay for it. I had enough money to do those things. I'd have to work 70, 80 hours. Um, but then again, I already knew, like, from watching what other men had did, how they fucked up their marriages, and how I was able to come in and sneak in behind them, and spend quality time with their wives. I learned from that shit. I learned from their fuck ups. Another time I had another one that I was dealing with. She was married. Her husband had a good job. I was seeing her, man. I mean, she recently got a hold of me. I even told my wife, this girl got a hold of me recently. I don't know how the fuck she even got my phone number. She had said that she had ran into somebody, a mutual friend of ours. I don't know who the fuck she's talking about. I think that she got my information off Instagram because my information on there is open. Um, but I ain't got nothing to hide. You know what I mean? Like when she contacted me, actually she contacted me twice. I've known her since 2007. So 2007 is when I first started seeing her, and I was seeing her for years. And she was married when I first started seeing her. And all of a sudden she hits me up. I was working, so this is I was still working. I was on disability yet, so this is probably about a year ago. Out of nowhere, I get a phone call from a 909 number. Usually, I won't answer phone calls, but if it's a 909 number, I'll answer it because it could be work or something. So I answer the call, and right away I recognize the voice. Like, what the fuck? Like, how the fuck she get my phone number? And she just, hey, I'm just checking on you, see how you're doing. I talked to you some years now, and I told her straight up, like, I'm married. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, I told her I couldn't be communicating with her and shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have no issues. You know what I mean? And right away, when I got the phone, I let my wife know, like, hey, check this out. This is what happened. Because I don't need that shit. I don't need somebody to come out later on for this fucking girl to come around saying, oh, well, I talked to her. Like, what do you mean you talked to him? When did you talk to her? I don't need all that bullshit. So right away, I told my wife what was going on. And so that was that. Last month, I get a fucking phone call again from a 909 number. I'm at the doctor about to go in there and get chemo. Fucking phone goes off. I'm in the parking lot. I answer the phone. I recognize the voice again. I'm like, what the fuck, man? I already told this chick. You know what I mean? I told her. That's what she says. I ran into a mutual friend. They told me about what's going on with you, and I just want to tell you that I'm praying for you and all that stuff. That's cool. I appreciate it. I'm at the doctor. I gotta go. And then she says, okay, I'll be in touch. It's like, no, the fuck you're not. You know what I mean? I hung up with her, and I told my wife about it. I said, man, that fucking girl called me again, man. And she's like, she's not upset with me, but she's like, fucking bitch, she knows you're married and shit. So I said, well, all I do is I'm gonna block that number from my phone. I'm not gonna change my fucking phone number over and over again because somebody keeps fucking trying to get a hold of me. But you know, I let my wife know what's going on. You know what I mean? I don't need them fucking issues. You know, and but that, like I said, that chick was married when I first started seeing her, and same thing. Her husband worked a lot. Husband worked a lot. She had it going on. They had a home, a son, daughter. Um, he had a good job, and I don't know. I don't. Yeah, she was working at the time. I can't remember exactly what it was she was doing, but she was working at the time. But again, being neglected, being left with the kids, her constantly being with the son at football games, husband's at work, the relationship started to fall apart. You know, you leave a woman alone like that all the time, they become lonely. They'll start to look for somebody else. They'll start to look for somebody else to fulfill that time. And so that was me. Started picking at it, picking at it. And no, you know what? That one was a little bit different. I met her at a club. She's out hanging out with her friends at a club. That's what that was. And that's how I got to her. I mean, this is your wife. She wasn't young. She wasn't, in her 20s. She was already in her late 30s, almost 40 years old. And she's at the nightclub with a bunch of single chicks. Or you're at work, So um, I just move on in. We just move on in. I'll weasel my way in there. I just ask for a phone number. Here's my phone number. Here's my phone number. Call me if you ever want to talk. I get the fucking phone call, and so I'm gonna weasel my way in. Here's they start throwing everything out there, about their relationship, what's going on with the relationship, and I'll start to take advantage of all that stuff. I'll start to fucking um, pick at that guy. You know what I mean? As far as like, yeah, that's not good. What a piece of shit. He shouldn't be doing this, and that you're his wife. How can I mean? If you were my wife, I wouldn't treat you like that. You'd be with me all. Boom, 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 just fucking throwing this shit out there at her, and just shitting all over this guy and making him look like the worst possible fucking person in the world, just so I can get what I want. And like I said, it kept everything contained. I didn't have to give them anything really. Just be the fucking ear for them to talk. When they needed to get shit up their chest, when they wanted to bitch about their husband, I'm the guy they're talking to. They no longer talking to their friends about it, talking to me about it. And while they're doing this, I'm breaking that guy down even more. But I'm not only breaking him down more to her in her eyes, I'm breaking her down even more. Making her feel like she needs me more, so I can get more and more whatever I want out of it. They never asked me for nothing because they had bank account with their husbands and all that stuff. They had husbands that had a good job. They didn't need that from me. I'm trying to get anything I can get out of it. You know what I mean? Yeah, sex is cool. Sex is cool, but how about $1,000? You know what I mean? How about some new clothes? How about some new shoes? I can go home and have sex. I had a woman. So I didn't need that from them. I was just trying to get what I can get. And so yeah, if there was sex involved, fuck it. You know what I mean? I'll get that too. But the whole thing about this video is for you guys to I can't speak for women, but I can speak for the guys, and I know from experience from dating married women, and I was doing it for years. That at one point, that's all I was dealing with was married women. I didn't want to deal with single women no more. I dealt with married women, and they knew that I was in relationships too. So I liked it that way because there was no one to tell. You ain't gonna tell me, I ain't gonna tell on you because I don't want you fucking up my shit, and you don't want me fucking up your shit. Um, until one day that one that I tell you about that I just talked about right now, she fucking gave me up. But that's a whole nother story, But most likely, if you're in a relationship or she's in a relationship, she's not gonna fuck nothing up for you because she's married. You fuck the boyfriend girlfriend thing, the boyfriend girlfriend thing where they live in separate homes and shit like that. That chick will fuck you over. But the ones that are married, she's not gonna do it because she really doesn't wanna. She really doesn't wanna lose what she's got going on over here. She just needs a companion for the moments that she needs it. So the thing is for you fellas though, I know from my own experiences and how I deal with my life now and my relationship. Money doesn't mean shit when it comes to I'm not gonna trade in my wife and my life for more money. You know what I mean? I'd rather live and be comfortable and have my wife and spend time with my wife and live the rest of my life with my wife than to be doing this starting all over bullshit all the time, because I'm out fucking around, because I'm eventually going to get caught, or you're eventually going to get tired of it yourself, which I've done that before too, where I've gotten tired of it. I got tired of hiding and having 4 or 5 girls that I'm dealing with, plus my woman at home. Get trying to make sure you're telling the same lies over and over again. You know, if you got like four or five women that you're dealing with besides your woman at home, it's like every day you're seeing somebody different, and that gets tiring. Or every weekend I gotta get into an argument at home so I can leave, go see one chick, spend time with her for a couple hours, then go see another one. And none of these women know about each other. I'm just juggling this shit for years. I was doing this shit for years, just juggling all these women around in these relationships. Um, that there was even a time where I was with one girl that didn't even know that I was married. She thought I lived with a roommate, and I was seeing her for a while. She didn't know where I lived because I told her I lived with a roommate, and I only take people out of the house because that's our place. She didn't know I worked. She just knew I was a truck driver. So I would go to her house. She owned her own house. She worked. She was a nurse. Um, so I go spend time at her house and spend the night over there and shit like that. Not spend the night, but I would stay there late at night because my wife I was out working. So but that shit gets tiring after a while of juggling all these lies and these relationships, trying not to get caught up until you get to the point where you're like, fuck it, I don't want to do this shit no more. And I remember one time I did that. I went home and I told my kids, Mom, I just don't want to be with you no more. That's it. You gotta go. You stay with your mother. I'll stay here and at the house. And I'm just, I didn't tell her why. I was just tired of doing all the shit that I was doing. Um, it's very exhausting to live like that. To constantly keep up on your lies. And so now, like I said, I'm almost 50 years old. I don't want to be living like that. I don't want to try to remember lies. Shit, I can't even remember with the fucking chemo brain. I can't even remember sometimes what I did yesterday. I don't want to try to remember all kinds of fucking lies, of where I was at and what I was doing. So to keep myself from having to go through all that bullshit, I spend my time with my wife. And I try to keep things the way they've always been. You know what I mean? My wife's we go. I always holding my wife's hand for the most part. Open the doors for her and stuff like that. Sometimes I forget to open the car door for her, but for the most part, I do still do the same things. You know what I mean? Um, she goes where I go. If she's not welcome to go, then I'm not welcome to go. My time is spent with my wife. If when the time comes, if I go back to work, it'll be the same routine it was before. I'm not going to sit there at work. I refuse to spend my life at work, just so I can get more and more and more. The greed, because I know it comes with the greed. And so I refuse to be like that. There's other people that they want more and more and more, and they start to neglect the shit that really matters. And I've done that before, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that no more. I regret a lot of those things that I did because I didn't spend enough time with my kids when they were younger. They lived with me, but I was always out and about with other fucking women, and my kids were always with the mother, uh, going places and going to her mom's house, and they were having barbecues and shit like that on the weekends, and I wasn't there. I wouldn't go. I would make an excuse why I didn't want to go, or you know, um, I just say I don't want to be over there all the time. You want to always be over at your mom's house hanging out. I don't want to be over there all the time. So you guys go. I'm gonna stay home. And then when she'd leave, I get dressed, boom, I'm out the fucking door. And I'll be out doing my thing. And so yeah, I regret that. I didn't spend enough time with my kids because of things I was doing. And so the thing is I can't make up for those things that I did back then. All I can do now is try to be better in the relationship that my marriage that I have now. I have to use all that stupid shit that I was doing to better myself and better my marriage now, and not make the same mistakes. Because, like I said before in other videos, who the fuck wants to start all over again at 50 years old? I've done it so many times before, all because of my own stupidity, all because of doing the things that I was doing. I have to start all over again. And I have to, and I'm always the one that lost because I'm the man. I'm always going to be the one that loses. That's the way it is. So for any men that are out there that are living that life, understand that when it happens, because eventually you're going to get caught up, or you're going to find out your fucking wife's out there hunting down somebody else. Just understand, most likely it's your own fault. We can sit here and say, yeah, that you can sit here and say, yeah, this chick's a hoe because of what she's doing. But then you gotta look at it from another point of view too. It's you gave so much in the very beginning, and now you're giving just enough now. In the beginning, you want to fucking do everything. You want to give everything to that person. You want to spend all your fucking time with that person. And then now it's like you're giving the minimum of it. Yeah, she should say, hey, fuck it, I'm done, and get out of the relationship instead of fucking around. Yeah, that's the proper thing to do. But who's doing the fucking proper thing? It's 2023. Who's doing the proper thing? Most people were like me. Most people now are like what I was as far as I'm gonna go get into, even if it's just a temporary relationship before I get out of this one. I would do that every single time. If I knew this shit was gonna end over here, because I have 3, 4, 5 girls that I'm dealing with, I'm gonna pick the best one that I can get along with for the time being. And once this shit broke off and fucked up, and I had nothing and I had to start over again, I got this one here, and I'll deal with her for a little while until I build myself back up again, and then boom, she's gone. I just didn't want to be without. So I would always be in some kind of relationship before this one ended. I would always find somebody that I can turn to, that I was okay, I'll deal with you. That's what people do nowadays. That's what you got these women that fuck around because the husbands neglect them or don't spend enough time with them anymore. They are out hunting for another motherfucker, and they ain't hunting to be with this dude forever. They're just looking for somebody to turn to when the shit gets bad, and their relationship is gonna end. They already can feel the relationship coming to a fucking end, so they already got somebody lined up Oh, that shit's fucking easy to see. It's easy to see. It's easy to look on their Instagram or Facebooks or whatever, and you can see what's going on. Uh, but again, like I watch it. Sometimes like hey, I even show my wife, like, hey, check this shit out right here. Guarantee this was good. This was gonna happen, and boom, shit happens. You know, people's relationship fall apart, and all of a sudden this girl right away got to fuck another man. Like, you think that just happened? No, it didn't just happen. You know, she's been searching for somebody else, but you've been neglecting her for a long time already. You know what I mean? So I think it all comes down to that, you know, neglecting the person that you're with, whether you're the husband, the wife, doesn't matter. Neglecting the person you're with, not treating them the way that you used to treat them. I think that's the most important thing, is to treat your husband or your wife the way that you used to treat them when you first met them. You have to try to keep it that way as much as possible. It can never stay completely like that. You're not gonna be fucking lovey dovey all the time like you were in the very beginning. That's ridiculous. But you have to spend the time with them like you were doing before. You have to be loving to that person, because you know what? If you're not loving to that person, some motherfucker like me would come around and be loving to your fucking woman for you. So try to keep things the way they were when you first met that your husband and your wife, and that'll help you out in your relationship. And don't make never make money the fucking priority of your relationship, because like they say, money is the root of all evil. You know, it'll fuck everything all up for you, especially for the man, because like I said, the men are the ones that go out there and work their asses off like that. But you know, there's gonna be a cost to it. If you're not at home spending time with your wife and your kids, there's another fucking man out there on Instagram, on Facebook, watching your wife's page, watching everything your wife does. You know what I mean? Like a stalker, and just is just sitting there and waiting for you to fuck up. And he's gonna come in there, and little by little, he's gonna break your woman down. And all these years that you've spent with that woman, all the things that you've had, he's gonna break all that shit down, and you're gonna fucking end up losing because you're the man. You will lose, especially if you got a woman that's a at home wife, or you make way more money than her. You know, she doesn't have a career. In the end, you're gonna fucking lose, and you're gonna lose big. She's in a game, and maybe this other motherfucker does stick around. Maybe this other guy that was watching her and picking at her little by little and trying to get to her and finally gets to her. All the shit that you've worked for, that motherfucker right there is gonna benefit off of it. You see, you lose your house, you lose the toys you had. You're gonna have to sell them or you have to give them up. You're gonna pay fucking alimony for 20-year marriage. You're gonna pay child support for these kids, and a lot of child support to these kids. You're gonna pay a lot of money, and guess what? That motherfucking man right there, that was picking at that woman, picking at her head, picking at her head. If he decides to, he's the one who's gonna gain from it. I've seen that shit happen. This man moves into that fucking house eventually that husband had to move out of. So is it worth all the fucking money that you were trying to make? Because you ain't gonna have it no more. Now you at one point you were making $150,000 a year. Now you're making fucking like what, $80,000 a year because of the money you're paying for child support and alimony. Why? Because you put the money first. You stopped treating your woman the way you treated her at the very beginning, and she started doing the same thing with you too. Because this shit goes both ways. It's a lot of times it's both people. You know, so um as much as you possibly can, try to keep things the way that they were when you first got with each other. That'll help you out a lot in your marriage, and and keep you guys strong and solid. You know, depending on one another. Because when you start to neglect that shit, one person does no longer depends on that person no more. You know, you both have to depend on each other to keep your marriage going. But if you kind of like it didn't have to be as the man cheating. You know, it has to be. It can be like I said, work. Or but if you are fucking around on the side, women ain't stupid. They might not catch you. Like my kid's mother, she never caught me. 11 years, 11 years in a relationship, off and on 11 years. Never caught me that one time. Never even came close to catching me fucking around. I couldn't even tell you how many women I was with in them 11 years. But she knew. She used to tell me, I know you're fucking around. I know you're fucking around. I'm not stupid. I just ain't catch. I haven't caught you. She goes, but I know. What the fuck are you doing out 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning with a bunch of dudes? Like you're hanging out with a bunch of guys all night long? Come on, I'm not fucking dumb. I know you're seeing somebody. I know you're doing something. I just ain't caught you yet. She never caught me though, but she was right. I mean, the writing's on the fucking wall. What am I doing out at 6 o'clock in the morning with dudes every fucking weekend? Every weekend I'm with a bunch of dudes. I'm not a fucking homo. You know what I mean? Yeah, sometimes I am with the guys, but me and the guys are out with other women. You know what I mean? Or sometimes I was just out on my own with another woman. You know what I mean? But I'm not spending my whole life with a bunch of dudes. You know what I mean? I'm out looking for fucking women. So she was right, but again, she never caught me. So again, but neglecting the relationship is what causes the relationship to fuck up. And so just I hope that some of you, if you're going through it, if you're putting your work and your money ahead of your family because you think that because you're providing for them, I'm at work, I'm providing for my family, you think that's the answer? You'll see. There's a motherfucker right now, especially if your wife is on most likely it's gotta be a good looking woman. If she's some rank ass chick, nobody gives a damn about. You know what I mean? But if you got a nice looking wife and you're neglecting her and she's always on Instagram and you start to notice the change in her too, like okay, before it was normal. Before she was just dressed normal, taking pictures of her and the kids, blah blah blah. Now all of a sudden, little by little, it's her in a bathing suit, her doing the whole fucking thing where she's trying to show her ass into the cameras. You better start to fucking realize what's going on. She's putting it out there. It's just advertisement. Before she was advertising her life, her kids, what she's doing with her family. Now she's advertising more of her body. Now she's doing her makeup. She's putting more filters on. She is out there hunting something else down. No woman's gonna say that's true. They're all gonna say, "Oh, I do it because I'm proud of myself, and I'm losing weight, and they're going to the gym now, losing all the weight, booty pictures." It wasn't like that. Go back. If you think that's what's going on, go back and look at your wife's Instagram and go back, or her Facebook, and go back a year or two and look at the shit that she was posting before, and then look what's going on now. It's all advertisement. But if that's the case, if that's what's going on, then you better look at yourself and figure out why she's doing that. You most likely you're the cause of her doing that because you're putting other shit ahead of her and your household or your family, and you're gonna fucking lose. You're gonna lose in the end. You're a man. You're always gonna lose. The laws are made for women, not made for men. You're gonna fucking lose. The laws are not made for fathers. They will fuck you over when it comes to child support. Believe me, I was paying back in the day. I was paying $1,200 a month child support. You're talking about in the '90s, the early 2000s. That was a lot of fucking money to pay for child support. One kid, I think he was getting $800 by himself. like, what fucking kid needs $800? But I was getting screwed because I was making decent money, and so that's during the times where I couldn't even afford hardly to live, and they didn't give a shit. When I went to court and I told them, hey, Your Honor, I'm barely getting by. I'm eating Jack in the Box tacos every single day because I don't have no money. Get a better job. I would tell my kids' moms. I have 3 kids' mothers. That's how fucking stupid I am. I have 3 kids' mothers. And I would tell them, like, hey, man, can you fucking ease up on me for a little while? Can you put this shit on hold for a little while? I can't live. I can't afford to live. They all say the same shit. Go get a second job. Oh, okay, bitch. Go get a second job. Why? So I could pay you more money? Because if they found out you had a second job, oh, you're going right back to court again. Hey, he got 2 jobs. Oh, you got 2 jobs? Okay, well, let's calculate this now. Okay, now you have to pay this much money. So why the fuck would I go get 2 jobs? I went one time to the court. When I was in, I was so frustrated. I was so pissed off because my kid's mother kept taking me back to the court for stupid ass shit. And I told him, I said, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to go out and start selling drugs again? And put myself in that situation? Because that's the situation that you guys are putting me into. I can no longer afford to live because she keeps bringing me back here every time she has a fucking problem. I can't live anymore. What do you want me to do? I'm barely getting by. I have like $50 at the end of the week. I have $50 at the end of the week. When I get paid, I pay off all my bills, car payment, everything. I have $50 left. I have to eat with that. I have to put gas in my car with that. $50 a week. I said, you put me in the position where I'm going to have to go back to the streets again. They didn't give a fuck. They didn't get another job. That was it. Get a second job. Well, fuck you. Get a second job so I can pay more money. I'm not going to do that. You see? So, but like I said, those situations like that, I take the blame for. I put myself in those situations from being ignorant, it all boils down to be the infidelity from cheating and shit like that, from that lifestyle. So I had to learn from all that, and like I said, things are so much different now. I can see things from a different point of view, and that's the point of view that I'm trying to give to you guys. If you notice that shit going on with your women, like I said, go back and look at their pages. You can see it. You're their fucking husband. Go back and look at their pages and see how shit has changed over 2 years or a year period, and you can see what's going on. Maybe you still have time to fix what's going on. But if you're putting your work and all that shit before your family, you have to understand why this shit's going on. Either you fix it or you get out of that shit right now. Because the more time you spend there, the more time you're going to pay. The more time you're in a marriage, the more time you're going to pay alimony. The only thing that goes down is the fucking child support, because the older the kids get, the less child support the kids going to get. But it doesn't go down that much. Because like I said, I pay a lot of fucking money in child support, man. And it's rough. And again, all this shit that happened with me was my own fucking fault. Because I wasn't treating the people that I was with the way I should have treated them. And because I wanted more than what I should have. You know what I mean? It's, like they say, your eyes are bigger than your stomach. My eyes were bigger than my stomach. I wanted more and more and more. And it cost me a lot of fucking wasted years. A lot of wasted years. To where now I'm like almost 50 years old, and I finally have what it is that I want, that I need. This is what I need in my life. The wife that I have now, and my points of view, and the little that I have. I don't have, like I said, I don't have a lot. People come here, they think, we have a decent living, but this is fine. I can go the rest of my life with what I have right now. The rest of my life. I could live the rest of my life exactly the way it is right now. I don't need to have a fuck ton of money in the bank. You know what I mean? Not if it's going to cost me to start all over again eventually one day. Not that it cost me to lose my wife because I'm neglecting my wife over work. I don't need all that shit. I can be happy with what I got right now. Be fucking content with that. Stop looking for more and more and more. Don't let your eyes be bigger than your stomach because it's gonna bite you in the ass in the end. I guarantee it. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching my videos. I hope that like I said, if there's any guys going through these issues, um, just listen to what I'm telling you. And again, like I said in my other videos, if you have any questions for me, you can message me here on YouTube, or you can send me a DM on Instagram on Chicano Style Bikers. Send me a DM right there, and you have anything to ask me, just ask me. You know what I mean? And I'll let you know how I feel about it, or I'll let you know how I think you can fix the situation or get yourself out of a fucking situation. Because I've been through so many of them. But anyway, again, thank you guys for watching, and like, share, subscribe, so I can get these numbers up. And I'll be hopefully putting out another video tomorrow. Maybe I'll do one with my wife because she'll be home tomorrow. She's at work now, so maybe tomorrow in the morning time we can get up and do one before the fights come on. So anyway, take care, everybody.